UFC 299. These are the full card predictions and the betting breakdown. Main event, Sean O'Malley versus Marlon Vera 2. I'm looking forward to talking about each of the matchups on this card. So make sure you guys smash the likes. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Turn the post notifications on and make sure to share the video as well. And also note, I'll be live for the entire UFC 299 fight card Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Don't miss the fight, companion. And let's get into the first fight of the night. We got Joanne Wood versus Maryna Moroz 2. They fought way back in 2015, and Moroz caught her in an armbar in like a minute 30 seconds. In 2024, I'm picking Moroz to win again. I don't know if I'm going to go as far as to say that she gets it done by an armbar this time and subs up Wood, but Moroz does have tricky jiu-jitsu, certainly, and I feel like the boxing advantage is pretty evident. I haven't really been impressed with Joanne Wood in a long time. I think she's showed evidence of declining overall. She does have good kicks up the center. Her Thai boxing background is still evident. She's nasty on the inside with some elbows and knees. She's a well-rounded fighter. She's been in the game a long time. Moroz a lot younger. Already has the win over. I still think more primed. I know she lost to Karine Silva last time. That was a rematch too for Moroz. She had beaten her years before. She got subbed up, but Karine Silva's an up-and-coming contender. And then fight before that, Jennifer Maia on a competitive decision. Joanne Wood is barely getting by Luana Carolina. Almost called her Luana Calderwood, man. I'm thinking of JoJo's old last name. Alexa Grasso lost. Who's the champ? That's fair. Talia Santos subs her. Lauren Murphy on a split. I just think Wood's past her best days. I'm going to pick Moroz to win. I think sub or decision ends up being live. As far as methods of victory, I don't know. I think we could definitely go into the later stages, though. Moroz, minus 200. Calderwood, plus 175. I like Maryna Moroz to get a hand raised the second time against Joanne Wood, and I think she gets it done probably on the scorecards. We'll look at the sub prop, but I'm more intrigued by just picking it straight up here with Moroz getting her hand raised when these ladies run it back to start 299 off. Next fight on the card, it's CJ Vergara versus Asu Almabaev. Asu Almabaev, he should win this fight by submission, I really want to say, but Vergara is pretty scrambly on the floor, and he's not an easy guy to bully on the mat. I know he lost by sub to Tatsuro Taira, but he still had a couple moments, like some reversals there, and like he was okay in the grappling. I know he's on a 2-fight winning streak, but the guys he's beaten, Lacerda, who's terrible, and Salvador, who's pretty bad, both primary strikers, whereas Asu Almabaev, he's a Kazakh pressure wrestling style. He's comfortable on top. He does well even from the full guard. He'll throw some elbows. He'll lock in that position and stay put for the most part. Win over Ode Osborne, who actually has a win over CJ Vergara. That was his debut. Decent resume outside of the UFC. Fight with Zach Makovsky. He won against him. And Makovsky's a pretty good wrestler. I like Almabaev to get it done. The method of victory by submission would like make sense for the prospect building up. But I do think CJ Vergara is a hard guy to put in a bad spot in sub, especially that Almabaev doesn't have the length of a Tatsuro in this matchup here. He's actually at a 3-inch reach disadvantage. Now, obviously, I think this fight's a lot of grappling, so that doesn't really matter. But it could limit his ability to lock up a submission. Possible for a sub for Almabaev, but definitely for a win. I think I'll call sub officially. I had written down just Almabaev because method of victory is still a little blurry, but I'm going to say the prospect could potentially finish off Vergara. I think he could choke him out. Minus 450, Almabaev. Vergara plus 350. You got to go EV. Almabaev representing Kazakhstan, the better wrestler between the two. I think he's going to be on point with his takedowns. I really don't think Vergara is going to have a ton of success in this fight. I think he's backed up from like the moment this thing gets going, and I don't think he's going to have too many opportunities to flurry shots on the inside. I think he's on his back for most of the fight. Almabaev to get it done. He's a wide favorite too, for good reason. Next fight on the card, Robelis Despaigne versus Josh Parisian. Robelis Despaigne has the longest reach in UFC history. 87 inches. That is the wingspan of someone 7'3". It's absolutely insane. He's 6'7". The dude's a freak of nature. Yes, I'm picking him to beat Josh Parisian. Parisian's a scrappy veteran. He does actually have decent hands and grappling skills. As far as like the bottom of the barrel heavyweight division goes, he has wins. Roque Martinez, who's not in the UFC anymore, he got a split decision over him, and honestly, he was fat as hell. And then he beat Alain Baudet. I would say Baudet is like the shame of France because he trains with Cyril Gane, but just could like never put it together. Recent fight, Parisian lost by Boudet, submission. Lost to Boudet by sub. Jamal Pogues boxed him up. I think Robelis Despaigne knocks him out in the first round. Josh Parisian's pretty slow on the feet. He's kind of clunky. He's a true journeyman heavyweight. If Despaigne has any potential to be good in MMA, he's going to absolutely destroy Josh Parisian with relative ease. Even Dontel Mays finished him off on the ground. Despaigne's a Taekwondo bronze medalist. He's 4-0. He has 3 straight sub 13-second knockout wins. The dude is like knocking everybody out in one shot. His other win that he has is also by a first-round knockout. He's new to MMA, but he is a lifetime martial artist with the Taekwondo background. Like normally, Taekwondo is not something you think about when you think of like high-level transitions. You'd more expect like a wrestling base and then transitioning to MMA or something like, professional kickboxing or Muay Thai. But Despaigne, he looks pretty solid, and I think he can snipe Josh Parisian early in the fight. He should destroy him. It should be a first-round knockout. If the potential is any bit real, I think the big boy gets it done. Despaigne is minus 360 as a favorite. He opened at minus 500. Who is betting down Josh Parisian as a dog? If you're on Josh Parisian as an underdog, speak now in the comments because I am very curious who you are. I personally think Despaigne dispatches of Parisian plus 285. Should be a rather quick fight. Under 1.5, I think happens too at minus 250. That's a wide line for under 1.5, but minus 250, I think he gets it done. 35, you can say, oh, is it old? Well, guys like Yoel Romero, these Cuban savages start a little late in MMA, but I think they can still reach good successes. Like Despaigne potentially could fight. I mean, what's Romero, 46? And he just won against Thiago Santos last weekend? I think Robelis Despaigne could be pretty damn solid if his body stays healthy. We could be looking at a future contender. I'm going to have faith in the up-and-coming prospect. I'm going to ride with Robelis Despaigne to win by knockout in the first round. Longest reach ever. He should destroy Josh Parisian. Next fight on the card, Philipe Lins versus Ion Cutelaba. I'm going to pick Cutelaba to win by knockout. I know Philipe Lins is on a 3-fight winning streak. He beat Prochnio, who, in all honesty, is okay. He did decent with Devin Clark last time. He beat the corpse of Ovin St. Preux. Definitely not prime St. Preux, far from it. And the Maxime Grishin snooze fest. Lins is a guy that is very calculated and technical, but sometimes a lot of cage control. His fights can be pretty damn slow. Ion Cutelaba on the opposite side, though, the complete opposite. He's like shot out of a cannon, and he's attacking you from the get-go. Good wrestler, nasty ground and pound, legit punching power, much better athlete, a lot younger than Philipe Lins. Cutelaba's coming off of a quick knockout of Tanner Bozier. And when you look at Cutelaba's losses, Ryan Spann, pretty decent fighter, ranked contender. Johnny Walker, ranked contender. And then Kennedy Nzechukwu, who's real close to that top 15, if not like number 15 in the world. He's kind of in and out of the rankings. You look at Lins, he's not a finisher in the UFC. He's not quick. He's not explosive. He has decent hands. He has decent enough grappling, but nothing jumps off the page. He does have a knockout loss to Tanner Bozier almost 4 years ago now. Wow. Crazy how long ago that was. And he took that on relative short notice. It was a month after his loss to Arlovsky. Cutelaba just destroyed Bozier. Not trying to use MMA math at all, but look at the recent competition. Yeah, Lins is on a 3-fight winning streak as opposed to Cutelaba, who's 1-3 in his last 4. But Cutelaba has fought way better opposition and done well. And I'm going to go Cutelaba to knock out Philipe Lins. I don't think Lins can keep up with Cutelaba's fast pace. Odds for this fight. Do we have odds here? Where's Cutelaba? Am I missing it, or is Cutelaba not here? They don't have the odds? Hold on. They don't have Cutelaba's odds. That makes no sense. I mean, he's definitely the favorite in this fight. Why is it that we don't have odds here? Now I got to check my phone. There must be odds somewhere. Maybe it's just not updated on fight odds. That's really weird. I got to get the odds for you guys. If they don't have them, they don't have them. But let me at least check. Okay, I'm searching everywhere. Odds for this fight just don't seem to exist. Very weird. Cutelaba versus Lin's odds. Where are the damn odds? Okay, I found something. I think these were the odds for their last booking, but I don't think they should be too different. Last time they were scheduled to fight at Open, Cutelaba was minus 150 and Lin's was plus 110. This is a rescheduling. Closed around minus 130 for Cutelaba. Lin's at plus 116. Give me Cutelaba. Expect him to be a close money favorite. Maybe if you get it at Open, it'll be minus 125. But I also have another inkling that it could even be wider. You could open up at maybe, minus 175, minus 200. Cutelaba should win by knockout. I'm picking him here, and I think he looks impressive. And I'm not writing him off yet. He's only 30. I know he's been in some wars, but still a young guy, and I think he's superior to Lin's. Next fight, we have Michel Pereira versus Michael Oleksiejczuk. I really like Michael Oleksiejczuk, and I almost picked him, but I'm not. I'm picking Michel Pereira because he's an absolute athletic specimen. He's the faster striker. He's got better kicks. He's got a more well-rounded tool set. Oleksiejczuk does have pretty good boxing. I mean, he touched up Dustin Jacoby a bit, even in his loss. He has some decent punches. He's a southpaw. He rips good body shots, too. He's just dealing with a superior athlete and physical specimen that I just think is going to give him difficulty from the outside. Even though there's a 1-inch reach advantage for Oleksiejczuk, I feel like the fighting from distance favors Pereira a lot here. I think he can land body kicks. And you look at Michal Oleksiejczuk's last fight. I know he outdogged Chidi Njokuani and won that fight, but Njokuani was doing a lot of damage. It's just Chidi Njokuani doesn't have good durability, at least not at the point of his career that he's at now. And you guys know, when Chidi burst onto the scene, I was an Njokuani fan. I watched him in Bellator, and then he came to the UFC. Michael Oleksiejczuk busted him up. Oleksiejczuk normally is a decent underdog because he gets slept on by the books. Lack there of a menacing frame. He did drop from light heavyweight down to 185 pounds, but he's still the smaller guy, I think, side by side compared to Michel Pereira. I'm going to pick Pereira to win. I think he can get a decision. But as we talk about it, Oleksiejczuk is not an awful underdog. He's got legit wins in the UFC. When he fights strikers, he does well. I just don't think he has the speed for Michel Pereira. Pereira's been in there with pretty good guys at welterweight. I got to go Pereira. It's weird that Michal Oleksiejczuk's the former light heavyweight here because he's just not a big dude. As far as the odds here, Michel Pereira minus 155, Oleksiejczuk plus 135. Over 1.5, minus 170. I think we're going over 1.5. I like the over 1.5 a lot here. Watch for Oleksiejczuk to rip the body a bit. Watch for Pereira to touch him up a bit. I think we got competitive 3 rounds. I think Pereira gets it done in the scorecards. Evident speed advantage. And maybe even Pereira surprises us with a bit of grappling because I could see him landing takedowns on Oleksiejczuk. Pereira for the win. We're going to go decision. And listen, last time he took out Petrosky at middleweight in his middleweight UFC debut, I think he can win here against a decent striker in Oleksiejczuk. Next fight on the card, we got Pedro Munhoz versus Kyler Phillips. Flip a damn coin on this fight because I actually think it's really close. I'm going to go Pedro Munhoz, even at 37. I think he's a live underdog. Kyler Phillips, he's got decent length and he has an okay jab, but I feel like it's more of like a pawing jab instead of like a snapping jab. When you watch Marlon Vera touch up Munhoz, he's like snapping him in the face with really nice jabs. Whereas I think Kyler Phillips, though he has decent hands, is like more flow style. It's looser, but in a sense, I'd prefer the tightness of his strikes to touch up Pedro Munhoz. Munhoz is hittable down the center line. He is a little bit upright with the chin, but never has had durability issues. He takes a good shot. Munhoz has punching power, and he is a good grappler too. He's dealing with a tricky athlete and a tricky frame in Kyler Phillips, but Kyler Phillips is like a wild card, man. He's a big favorite in a fight against a guy that's been at the top of the division for years. Like Phillips last time, he beat Hayani Barcelos. Barcelos is okay. He just recently won against Quinones, but he was losing that fight. Marcelo Rojo, not too high level, and that was 2 years ago. And then the Raulian Paiva loss, it was a draw. It was not a loss. Okay? Go rewatch that fight. If the first round ain't a 10-8, then 10-8 rounds don't exist. But the big issue with Kyler Phillips is he showed to have subpar cardio. That third round, he evidently slows down. If this was a 5-round fight, I definitely would feel even more confidence towards the Pedro Munhoz underdog pick. I just have a little worry that Phillips could look real good in the first 2, and then in the third round, Munhoz would take over. But I'm still going to pick Munhoz. Munhoz won a round against Marlon Chito Vera. Some people even felt like he won that fight, and Chito Vera's fighting the main event for the world title. Pedro dropped Chris Gutierrez and beat him when Gutierrez was looking like a highly touted contender on the come up. Munhoz is a high caliber gatekeeper. He is 37, and at bantamweight, that's like 45. But his body doesn't really seem to be slowing down too much. He's still competitive against some of the best guys in the world. He still has a win recently with Gutierrez. I mean, you look at some of the losses. Jose Aldo, legend. Dominic Cruz, legend. O'Malley, no contest. It looked like he was going to lose that fight. The Gutierrez win. Then he loses to Chito in competitive fashion. Kyler Phillips is beating Barcelos, who's mid. And then he's beating Rojo, who's to the bottom tier. And like, yeah, you dig back. Oh, but he beat Song Yadong. 3 years ago, he beat a young Song Yadong. Phillips has had good moments in his career. He's an okay contender on the come up. But I still think Pedro Munhoz can outwork him. I think it's 3 hard rounds. I think over 2.5 is better than anything else as far as the likelihood. But Munhoz is a good underdog. Plus 220? How is Pedro Munhoz a plus 220 underdog? This fight to me seems way closer than the lines suggest. I could see a minus 135 to plus 115 making way more sense. At open, Pedro Munhoz was plus 170, so even opened as a dog. And people are betting down Kyler Phillips. He's minus 260. Over 2.5, minus 270. I like the over. I think we're going late here. I think we're going all 3 rounds. Close fight, competitive one. I'll say Munhoz 29-28. I think he gets it on the scorecards. But he has given up a bit of reach here, 72 to 65. Something to overcome. He has overcome reach disadvantages a lot, though. Pedro Munhoz has got some of the shortest arms in the UFC. This is not something new. And I don't think Kyler Phillips has great jabs on the outside. He does have nasty kicks, and he's got good speed. He's competent on the floor, but I think Pedro Munhoz is the better fighter from top position. I think Munhoz could potentially get on top of him and control him a bit. I'm going to pick Pedro Munhoz to win a close decision here. I know he's 37, and like a fighter at that age, at bantamweight, it could be one fight and it could be completely over. But last time out, he went long and competitive with Chito, who's fighting for the belt and is a top 5 guy. I'm going to go with Munhoz to send back Kyler Phillips, the prospect. Underdog pick. Next fight, we got Mateusz Gamrot versus Rafael dos Anjos. I got to pick Mateusz Gamrot. I do think his striking is evolving. I really think that his wrestling and pressure is on point. And a 39-year-old RDA, I just don't think can compete and keep up at that level. Now, RDA has got some of the meanest body kicks ever when he's in his prime. He's a very strong fighter. He's got strong grappling. He's an elite-level lightweight, especially in his prime. Problem is, he's removed from his prime. He did get knocked out by Fiziev a 1.5 plus ago. I know Gamrot just beat Fiziev, but it was like a weird injury stoppage. But Gamrot's striking was looking good in that fight. Afterwards, RDA got a win over Barber in an upper weight class who has very limited grappling. Then he lost to Luque, who's taller, longer, good striker, competent grappler. Not really a bad loss. But now we're back at 55. RDA's been jumping up and down the weights for a long time. I think Mateusz Gamrot is a very legit contender at 155 pounds. Aside from the one loss to Beneil Dariush, and then obviously like a controversial loss early in his UFC career, he's done well. He beat Jalen Turner in competitive fashion, was way taller than him and like way more dangerous with the striking. And then obviously the Fiziev win was nice. You got a Sarukian W by controversial decision. Still win on paper. Diego Ferreira, who he knocked out. When Mateusz Gamrot is on point. Gamrot's nasty. I'm going to pick Gamrot to beat RDA. I'm going to go decision, though. I still think RDA's chin holds up. I don't think Gamrot's going to be ripping him too hard with shots, but he might land some decent ones. I think he could time some takedowns. Competitive 3 rounds, a lot of cage work. I don't know. I'm feeling like Gamrot is going to have like a Merab Dvalishvili-esque type performance here against RDA. As far as the odds, minus 375 for Gamrot. Really big favorite. What did he open at? Opened at minus 400. Wow. RDA plus 310. It's just a different time now. RDA is from the last era. I saw RDA fight live against Khabib, and I'm realizing in a month, that's going to be a damn decade ago. And like, that was when RDA was truly primed and really entering his prime. But that's when he had his run, when he was the world champ, and had that sick knockout of Cowboy Cerrone with body shots in their rematch too. But it's just, time has passed him, okay? I got to go with Gamrot. I think we're going 3 rounds, minus 265 for the over. Mateusz Gamrot, unanimous decision, and I think he sends back RDA, the legend. Next fight, Katlyn Cerminara versus Maycee Barber. It was Katlyn Chukagian for years. It's so weird seeing a different last name. So if I call it Chukagian at any point, you know who I'm talking about. I am going to pick Katlyn Cerminara to win against Maycee Barber. I always find myself in this weird spot when Maycee Barber fights because she's so iffy. She's like a great prospect, but she's also only 25. She also won a split decision against Andrea Lee. Controversial decision with Miranda Maverick. I know she stopped Amanda Hebos in an absolute dogfight. It's almost knocked my cup over. But she did absorb a lot of damage in that. Katlyn Cerminara, she pulled off a win over Hebos by split. She just lost to Manon Fiorot a year and a half ago, but Fiorot is fighting in the #1 contender fight versus Blanchfield. She's extremely good. And it's not like Katlyn Cerminara was completely out of that fight at all. Damn, I really want to say Katlyn Chukagian. I'm going to pick Cerminara, a.k.a. Chukagian. I think she wins a decision. She's got a bit of a length advantage. She's good from the outside, not easy to take down and control. Maycee Barber is striking, though it's fast. I think she's going to have a hard time landing clean head strikes here with Cerminara. I think she has a hard time landing takedowns. I think we're going 3 rounds. I think Cerminara is getting a competitive decision. I'm going to go Katlyn Cerminara to win this thing. I'm picking her over Barber. Minus 200 for Maycee Barber, plus 170 for Chukagian. Cerminara, depends where the hell you go. Minus 350 for the over 2.5. It's a ladies fight. It should go long. I'd be kind of shocked to see a finish on either side. I think Katlyn Cerminara wins the fight, but like, I know she's an underdog, but the reason it wouldn't be one of the best bets is because look at Maycee Barber, right? She gets these decisions. If it's close, a lot of the times it's going Maycee Barber. I'll pick Cerminara on the scorecards. I'm going with her. I'm going with the underdog here. I know she's 10 years older, but I don't think she's out of her prime. Granted, she could look like shit because she hasn't fought in a year and 4 months, and we don't know, that time off. Could it be good? Could it be bad? But before that loss to Fiorot, she was on a good run, and she still won a round against Fiorot and had decent moments in the fight. I'm going with Katlyn Cerminara to win a decision over Maycee Barber. Next fight on the card is our featured prelim of the night. It's Curtis Blaydes versus Jailton Almeida. I know my pick. It's just intense. I'm going Jailton Almeida to win by submission. I think that Jailton Almeida is going to right that wrong after the terrible, boring decision over Derek Lewis. Still was very dominant. And I think he's going to finish Curtis Blaydes by sub. I think he could be active and take the back of Curtis Blaydes. I would not be surprised if Jailton Almeida puts the wrestler on his back. Now, I know we're thinking about, okay, but what happens if Jailton gets caught in the stand-up? I don't think he's a fish out of water in the striking department. Curtis Blaydes is a decent boxer. He has solid MMA striking. He's definitely got a bit of power. But I don't think Jailton Almeida is like a dead fish in the stand-up department. I think Jailton will actually look to take down Curtis Blaydes. And even if he's failing attempts, I think that could open things up on the feet. Curtis Blaydes was recently knocked out badly against Sergey Pavlovich. Has a knockout loss a bit back to Derek Lewis. Jailton Almeida hasn't really shown the wrinkle of his striking. He's shown to be a dangerous grappler. He won on Contender Series against an OV, and he was an underdog there, and he took him down and he won by submission. I still think Jailton Almeida has a finisher's instinct. I don't know. With that Derek Lewis fight, it was weird, but he did dominate every round. Like, I know he didn't get the finish, but he locked in position and stayed on top. I think he could take Blaydes' back, and I think he could sub him. I just think Derek Lewis is just one of those weird fighters where somehow he does extremely good. Or not really extremely good. He looked like shit, but somehow he survives against a submission ace like Jailton, or somehow he knocks out an absolute specimen of a wrestler like Curtis Blaydes when he should have no opportunity for that and he should be getting taken down like that, and it doesn't happen. We're going to go Jailton Almeida. He still beat Derek Lewis, and Blaydes lost to him. I'm going Almeida. I'm going to go win by submission. Jailton's a dog, plus 105. At open, he was minus 200. We've seen a total line flip. Minus 125 for Blaydes. Watch this fight flip again. Will not surprise me in the slightest if Curtis Blaydes ends up the underdog the day before. Minus 165 for an over. Fuck the over. Jailton could be a dog bet. I want to see what the sub prop is at. The sub prop might be intriguing. Does he lock up a sub? He goes out there and wins his decision just like he did with Derek Lewis. I like Jailton here. I believe in him. I'm going to have faith in the contender on the come up to turn back a strong veteran in Curtis Blaydes. Give me Jailton Almeida. Give me win by submission. Let's keep running up with the hype train. Even though last time against Lewis it wasn't good, it still was a dominant win. Let's get to our main card opener. If you guys haven't yet, make sure you smash the likes. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. We got Petr Yan versus Song Yadong. I'm picking Petr Yan to beat Song Yadong. I feel like Yan's striking is clearly better. He's more precise with his stand-up. And it's easy to write off Yan because of losses. But can we talk about his losses for a second? Disqualification against Aljo. Win over Corey Sandhagen, who's elite. Lost to Aljo by split in the rematch where Aljo backpacked him a lot of the fight. The Sean O'Malley split was controversial. Sean O'Malley beat him, though. And then Merab actually put it on him for 5 rounds. It's fucking Merab. Merab is an absolute freak, and he just out-wrestled Henry Cejudo, the Olympic gold medalist. You look on the other side, Song Yadong, he's looked good in his recent bouts and kind of relied on the takedown, though, against Chris Gutierrez, who's a pretty decent striker, and you're not taking down Petr Yan. Petr Yan's going to rip him up in the stand-up. I see Yan just landing more significant shots. Knocked out Ricky Simon. Simone's okay. And you can see a loss here to Corey Sandhagen. He had decent moments in the fight, and it was a doctor's stoppage, and he's tough as hell. Song Yadong is somehow only 26, but he's been in the UFC forever. You can see some impressive knockouts. There's big power on Song's side. He's a freak athlete, and he's super explosive, but don't tell me he's technically superior to Petr Yan, because he isn't. Petr Yan is the better striker, and I think he's the better grappler. Maybe Song, at this point, has a slight explosiveness edge, but I don't see him chinning Yan. I think Yan could even sting Song Yadong and touch him up on the feet. I think this is Yan's comeback fight. I know he's on a bad losing streak. I know it looks horrible, 1-4 in his last 5. But before that, he was 15-1 as a pro. I'm going Petr Yan to get back on track. I think Yan beats Song Yadong by a unanimous decision, which would be a pretty damn fun fight. Petr Yan is a -135 close money favorite. Song Yadong, wow, the line just flipped. It's even money, -110 on both sides. You can even find, no, you can't find, I was going to say you can even find Yan as a dog. You can't. But even money now, -275 for the over. Close odds, I like these odds a lot, actually. Over 2.5 makes sense at -275, but I like Yan money line. I see Petr Yan taking out Song Yadong. I know Yadong has looked good, but he hasn't proven to me that he can beat Petr Yan. That's not what I get from his win over Chris Gutierrez or his win over Ricky Simon. Petr Yan has been in there with the best of the best, and at one point was the most feared man at 135 pounds, and he sent Henry Cejudo into retirement out of fear. That guy's not gone. That guy's not gone. Petr Yan's coming back in this fight, and he's getting back in title contention, and he's beating Song Yadong. Let's go. Petr Yan to open the main card off. Love this fight. Love this fight. Holy shit, I'm excited. Next fight on the card, we got Gilbert Burns versus Jack Della Maddalena. I'm going to go with Jack Della. Jack Della to win. JDM for the victory. His boxing is better than Gilbert Burns's. I do think his takedown defense will hold up. These guys match up well in their frames. Crazy that Gilbert Burns is 10 years older. He still looks young, man. And I still think he's primed. Powerful overhands with Burns. Championship level jiu-jitsu. I think Jack Della's takedown defense is solid. I think he will find a lot of shots, though. I think his hands are going to flow nicely on the inside with Gilbert Burns. I see a hard fight for sure. I could see Jack Della rocking Gilbert Burns in this fight. I could potentially see him knocking out Gilbert Burns. And I know people say, bro, you're crazy. He couldn't knock out Kevin Holland. He couldn't knock out Basil Hafez. The styles make the fights. And also, Jack Della's 27, and he's emerging as a contender on the come-up right now. Now, I'm not going to go out and tell you I'm definitely picking a knockout. I think I'm going to go Jack Della on the scorecards. Gilbert Burns is going to look to fight Jack Della Maddalena in the same fashion that he fought Masvidal. He needs takedowns. He is looking to pressure wrestle Jack Della. As he does this, I think Jack Della could hurt him. That's why I like the chance of a knockout. I actually really, I don't know. I have an inkling that Jack Della does knock him out, but I don't know if as far as I want to call that my official pick for the fight. My pick is Jack Della, okay? Jack Della to win. I could see him KOing him. I could see him catching Burns. Burns been knocked out in the past. Good, clean strikers with solid takedown defense and precision can give Burns a lot of trouble. Now, the Stephen Wonderboy Thompson fight, he did outwork Wonderboy. That was 2.5 years ago, though. And I think Jack Della has a tricky game. I don't see him getting taken down easily by Burns. And also, very different striking style than Wonderboy. Wonderboy's style, he needs space to fight at his best, whereas Jack Della can do great work inside of the pocket. And that's where I think he finds a lot of success in fighting a pressure fighter like Gilbert Burns. We're going with Jack Della to win. As far as the odds, he's a minus 140 favorite. Very good fight, good odds. Plus 120 underdog, Gilbert Burns. Over 1.5 rounds, minus 205. I think we're going over 1.5. But Jack Della could clip him, man. He could clip him early. Fuck the over, actually. I don't even want to talk about the over. Jack Della, maybe a straight money line, or maybe you're sitting on the sidelines and watching. Is the prospect going to emerge as the next contender on the come-up, or does Gilbert Burns hold his place as the gatekeeper? I'm going to go with the prospect. I'm going to go with Jack Della. I'm picking him to win. I think he can pull it off. The Kevin Holland win, I know it wasn't great. Bezo Fez, I know it wasn't great, but a short nose replacement. Now, Holland's long as hell and tricky, but he's got impressive finishes. Lost there to Bilal. Win over Masvidal, which is not impressive to me at this point. Yes, he subbed up Neil Magny. It was good. Hamzat beat him in a great fight, and then the Wonderboy win. I'm going Jack Della Maddalena to beat Gilbert Burns and get past the gate and move into the upper echelon of the welterweight division. Jack Della for the W. The boxing gets it done. And let's get to our featured bout of the night. It's Kevin Holland versus Michael Venom Page. I'm picking Michael Venom Page to beat Kevin Holland. I think that Venom Page is going to be very tricky with his kicks from the outside, and I also think he's going to be doing damage with his kicks to Kevin Holland. Holland's hands are nasty for sure, but Venom Page can touch him right back. I see Venom Page potentially rocking Kevin Holland. He could knock him out. Michael Venom Page is a destroyer. The way he destroyed Goichi Yamamuchi's leg when they fought in his last bout, the way that he destroyed Cyborg's freaking forehead with the knee. Venom Page just fucks people up. When he's on point, he's one of the scariest strikers in MMA history, specifically in that welterweight division. And I'm interested in seeing him potentially fight against Wonderboy too. Kevin Holland on the other side, smooth boxing, good power, solid jiu-jitsu. But I think Michael Venom Page can hurt Kevin Holland. I don't know about a finish though. A finish wouldn't shock me here either. But I feel like Kevin Holland is pretty damn tough. And I think we got 3 good rounds between high-tier strikers, and I think Michael Venom Page comes out on top doing more significant damage. I think he's going to be clearly better. He's going to be a little more precise, a little bit faster, and I think Michael Venom Page is a contender right now. And I think the Stephen Wonderboy Thompson fight is something to look into if I'm the UFC, because that would be massive. Battle of the Karate Aces. Michael Venom Page in the UFC is huge. I've been watching MVP's entire Bellator run. I was a hardcore Bellator fan at one point, especially when Michael Venom Page was really bursting on the come-up. I do remember when he got chinned by Douglas Lima. I do remember the controversialist rematch, but styles do make the fights. Michael Venom Page is fighting Kevin Holland. I like this matchup for him. The one fight of Michael Venom Page I did not watch live was this Logan Storley snooze fest, and I was glad that I didn't, because I saw it after, and I said, this fight sucked. It was just pressure wrestling. It was terrible. It was terrible. I see why Michael Venom Page got signed to the UFC, because he's an elite talent in the striking department, and he's an elite entertainer. I think him and Kevin Holland put on a good fight, but Michael Venom Page is coming out with his hand raised. MVP for the win in the featured bout. He's a plus 115 underdog over Kevin Holland. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Under Kevin Holland, I should say. Over 2.5, minus 170. Dangerous gameplay in the over with a vicious guy like Page, but Kevin Holland is very durable. And it's not like Michael Venom Page is likely to lock him up in a submission. Page money line would be the A side if you're looking to fucking throw down on anything. But you do have a real competitive fight. It's also MVP's debut, but I think he's going to win it here against Kevin Holland. Don't be shocked if he flatlines him in super impressive fashion. I'm telling you. Michael Venom Page is precise, and I think Holland's going to struggle with the awkwardness and creativeness of Michael Venom Page's style. Watch for the side kicks, watch for the straights, watch for big shots all night long. I'm going Michael Venom Page to take out Kevin Holland, and welcome to the UFC. And I think we got something big on the horizon with MVP if he pulls it off. Next fight is our co-main event of the evening. It's Dustin Poirier versus Benoit Saint Denis. Scary fight. Scary fight. I have been picking Benoit Saint Denis to win by submission since they announced it, and I don't want to stray from my initial inkling. But I was watching Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier, and I thought, damn, Poirier won that first round. Poirier's hands are smooth. And Benoit Saint Denis got caught a bit by Thiago Moises on the inside. If Dustin Poirier sits on some big shots, and if Benoit Saint Denis is somehow, human, which I don't know if he is yet, because the fucking durability that he has seems out of this world, I could see him getting dropped and hurt by Poirier. But what I am going to predict to happen is that Benoit Saint Denis can weather a Poirier storm. I think he can drag Dustin Poirier into a scrap that gets into the deep waters, and I think he will fatigue Poirier. I think he will take his back, and I think he will win by rear naked choke. I'm going Benoit Saint Denis by third round submission. Good fight with Poirier, moments for Poirier. Benoit's durability will hold up, and I think we got a guy that could potentially be fighting for the BMF belt or even the lineal title after a win here against Poirier. France has got a savage on the come up. Like, you look at Benoit's only loss, he took it on very short notice against Zaleski, upper weight class. He took bombs, but he never wilted. And now he has come into his own. He's only 28. Poirier's 35, and I heard him talking about retirement. I start hearing this retirement talk, I start worrying, because when it's tough, when the going gets hard, we got Benoit, who's never sniffed gold, who hasn't been there yet, who's never fought for the title. Whereas you had Poirier, who's won the interim belt, fought for the world title multiple times, fought for the BMF title and lost. It's time for somebody new. And I'm saying Benoit Saint Denis is that somebody new. I'm going Saint Denis, win by submission over Dustin Poirier. If he gets Poirier down and puts him in bad spots like somebody like Michael Chandler did to him, Benoit's going to finish you off. Benoit's a fucking menace. I'm going with Benoit to win. See that Oliveira sub loss to Khabib by sub. Obviously, the head kick knockout loss to Gaethje. He did beat Chandler in a good war, and he subbed him. But Benoit Saint Denis is a problem. I'm going with the hype. Matt Frivola's his biggest win. Not a huge W as far as who's he fought, but just Benoit Saint Denis' style and his mentality, I really see a perennial star, especially for France. And I think the UFC is banking on him heavy. We got Benoit Saint Denis versus Louisiana's own Dustin Poirier. I'm picking Mr. France. I'm going with Benoit Saint Denis by submission. As far as the odds, minus 193 for Benoit. He opened at minus 150. Line has gotten wider. Fight to go under 1.5 plus 130. I would like an under 3.5. This is 5 rounds. If you don't know, this is a 5-round co-main event. All likelihood, this is a match that if Benoit's victorious, he could burst into a number 1 contender fight. He could burst into a BMF fight or even a short notice title shot if he's super impressive against Dustin Poirier. Poirier, big dog, plus 168. Savage southpaw, great boxing. And he could definitely touch Benoit, but I just don't know if Benoit is the guy that's going down. I don't think he is. I'm going Saint Denis to weather a storm, win by 3rd round submission. We're going with BSD for the victory. Main event of the evening. If you guys haven't yet, make sure you smash the likes. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. We got Sean O'Malley versus Marlon Chito Vera 2. I'm picking Sean O'Malley to win. Go back and watch their first fight. Sean O'Malley is superior to Marlon Vera. He's a lot faster and he's a lot more precise. He's more dangerous in the striking. His leg got shut off with a weird kick, and he was unable to survive. But if you dig to the end of the fight, when he fell down, the ankle kind of got rolled up, fell down. You got Vera on top, throws a right hand, throws an elbow. Was a right or a left? Actually, it might have been a left hand. I'm thinking of the way that I was watching it. But regardless, it was a little bit of an early stoppage when you dig back. Definitely O'Malley was rocked by the ground and pound, but he wasn't flat out. Herb jumped in, obviously, because there was an evident injury to Sean O'Malley, which put him down. Sean O'Malley, if he's not to get some fluke injury, he's going to touch up Marlon Vera for a lot of this fight. Vera is an extremely calculated and slow-paced guy. He usually bursts for big moments and gets finishes. I can't see him knocking O'Malley out. I think Sean O'Malley touches him up. There's a chance that O'Malley rocks and finishes off Marlon Vera. But I do respect Chito Vera's durability. I think that he's got one of the toughest minds in the fight game. Sean O'Malley is just a better fighter. I feel like O'Malley's prepared for a 5-round test here, and he recognizes that his opponent's not going to be an easy guy to finish off. I think O'Malley's got the gas to go 5. I think O'Malley can pull this thing off like a 49-46, maybe even a 50-45. I'm going Sean O'Malley to win it. He's coming off a big knockout against Aljo. It's not impossible for him to sleep Chito, but Chito Vera's durability is real. He takes a great shot. He does sit in there a bit in his stance, and I could see O'Malley stinging him with big ones. But Vera going down and out, his fitness level and how good a shape he's in, it's going to be hard to do, especially with one big shot. I think O'Malley can win this thing on the judges' scorecards. Vera's coming off that Pedro Munhoz win where he lost the second round. He got touched a bit in that fight. Some people thought he lost it. O'Malley's going to take him. Lost to Sandhagen. That was not a split decision. He clearly lost. Dominic Cruz knockout. Cruz was having moments before the knockout. Rob Font, just big moments for Chito Vera. Won him the fight, but volume favored Font. Frankie Edgar fight. Frankie looks good. Then he's, front kicked in the face, and it's over. O'Malley with the Jan split, the Aljo, the no contest with Munhoz. Paiva knockout, of course. Destroyed Moutinho. But Moutinho's chin held up, and Vera's got an iron chin. So I do think Chito Vera can make it into the later stages. I'm going to predict decision win for Sean O'Malley. He's taking out Chito Vera on the scorecards and still champion. O'Malley's minus 240, the favorite. Chito Vera plus 205, the dog. Over 4.5 is minus 160. So it is expected to go the distance here. I don't necessarily disagree at all. What was the opening line for O'Malley? Minus 220. So it's spread a little bit, but it hasn't spread too wide. Sean O'Malley for the win. And still champ. I think he keeps that belt. I think he's still on the throne. I think the UFC is already looking ahead to a potential Ilia Topuria super fight, or even potentially a Merab Dvalishvili fight next time out, which would be a really sick clash of styles between the wrestler and the striker. I think O'Malley outstrikes Marlon Vera over the course of the 5 rounds. Unanimous decision win. Watch for his straight shots. Watch for his teep kicks. Watch for his nasty leg kicks. And I think he slows Vera down, touches him up. He's got a clear speed advantage. And I don't see Vera hitting that perennial nerve with some weird leg kick this time out. And I think Sean O'Malley should win it in a race, his only loss that even he claims, never actually happened. So shout out Sean O'Malley in the main event. We're picking him. That is UFC 299. It is a stacked card. I'm excited as hell for UFC 299. We got a great week's worth of content. So if you're not subscribed, make sure you do subscribe. Live streams every day. Videos pretty much every day. If it's not a video, it's at least a live stream. Moneyline Monday. So big things on the channel coming as we close in on 29,000 subs for UFC 299. I'm excited as hell. Make sure you smash the likes. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And if you got nothing to say, drop a W in the chat to boost the algorithm for your boy. Much love, my people. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.